to choose from a variety of candidates, not this man-dominant kind of electoral processes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I now want to ask Professor Adam Solo also to ask you some questions.
Thank you, Chair. Ethekon. You know, you're one of the people whom you look at the CV and you're trying to make the connection. But listening to you, the connection comes out. And therefore that makes me change the question that I wanted to ask. Because the Vice Chair and other members have brought out that connection.
Thank you, sir.
I want to go the Tanui route, FCPA Tanui, to give you the practical aspects of our election, and therefore ask you to tell Kenyans why at 48 you are that man that they have been looking for. FCPA Tanui gave you the example of Samuel Kivi to the late. He was quoted as the results were coming in, saying, I can't reach my returning officers. I hope they're not cooking results out there. Then on the day that he was announcing the results at KICC that you have referred to, he was alone with only one media station, the state media station, with GSU around him, and the swearing in took place at dusk. No normal fanfare, no presidents invited, no ambassadors invited. We had to change the law so that now there's a very clear legal process of swearing in the president. In Bomas that you have talked about, a near similar scenario took place. The Supreme Court, even as it threw away the petition, said that the chairman had created an illegal office. The chairman had assigned fellow commissioners what you would call hospitality duties. And in the illegal office, the secretariat was carrying out duties that normally the commissioners are supposed to oversight. You gave us the example of how you and other men and women of wisdom of this country saved the country in 2013 through backroom channels. In other words, the pressure cooker, you released it to release the gas to the Supreme Court that was created by the 2010 Constitution because of the 2007. What I'm asking this gentleman from a marginalized community who, as Fatuma says, has gone against the odds, if you are made chairman, what would you do so that we don't make the Supreme Court the releaser of the pressure, and instead IEBC, led by Ethekon, is the one that resolves and brings confidence to Kenya that finally we have a referee that leads an election that is fair, that is transparent, that both winner and loser and Kenyans and observers can say, this was the result.
Thank you, Professor Adam Solo. It's a pleasure to see you here. The last time I met with you was when we were presenting our views from Turkana on the BBI process. This question is almost emotional, coming from deep from your heart. And as I said, we shouldn't have to witness those kind of scenarios. So as I said earlier, we need to look at as a country and as a people, where did the rain start beating us? Could it be the issues of trust in our electoral management processes? Could it be issues of pertaining to those people who from time to time are given those responsibilities to manage our electoral processes? Could it be an issue of processes? So I think, as you've rightly pointed out, from the Kivuitu debacle to Bomas, in between, there have been certain constitutional changes, some legislative changes that have tried to move us from that situation where Chairman Kivuitu declared openly that he doesn't know where his returning officers are. And in the recent elections, as recent as 2013, 2017, and to date, we've witnessed a situation where the returns from the polling stations and the constituency tallying centers actually reach the final tallying center. So there have been certain improvements. For example, because I know most of the time voting might not be the real problem, but where the elephant in the room is in the manner in which we handle our results, the manner in which we tally, tabulate, count, tabulate, tally, and then transmit. So we've seen certain improvements through the use of technology, the RTS, the ERTS, the Electronic Result Transmission System, as we witnessed last time. We've seen improvement in openness, transparency, in the manner in which the results are handled both at the polling station but also at other levels. So for me, the way I look at it as Kenyans, I think there's a big gap, deficit in terms of us as Kenyans trusting our institutions to deliver free, fair, transparent, verifiable elections. So that lack of confidence is in our institutions and our processes is what we need to address. And if you look at, Prof, even the cost of our elections alone, it's one of the most expensive. And for me, the way I look, from where I sit, I see that lack of trust is what is costing us, even in accounting terms, in financial terms. Because then we tend therefore now to sometimes even over-prescribe, over-legislate, over-regulate. For example, technology, we know we have to procure, then we have to do audit, we have to get an independent firm to audit it, all the way up to after elections. So for me, I would pray for the day when we as Kenyans can trust and say, Mr. Erastus doing Ethekon has really nothing to gain by bungling elections, by undermining the will of the people of Kenya. What do I stand to gain? So I would want a situation where this new commission, We sit down. Number one priority, how do we restore trust? How do we bridge that gap? We look at those processes. We look at the people, even internally, our staff. Are they neutral? Are they impartial? Are they professional? We as commissioners, we come individually. I'm here today, I'm speaking for myself, but there'll be others, they speak for themselves. You will pick 6, maybe perhaps to join me, luckily. But we bring different personalities, different orientations, different persuasions. So we need to reconcile all that and look at the law and say, look, the Constitution, Article 73, tells us the position you occupy as a commissioner, as chair, and as secretariat is a commission of trust by the people of Kenya. And therefore you should do it, carry out your duties and functions as commissioners in a manner that must comply with the objectives and the purpose of the Constitution. And it gives us all that directions. Number 2, we must behave and carry out our duties in a manner that respects the people of this country. Because when you look at what happened in Bomas, it doesn't show any respect to the people of Kenya who have given us this trust and responsibility. So for me, I will work hard to ensure that collegially and together as a team, we interpret the law and we stick to the law. And if it's, for example, that issue that's normally contentious, the result transmission and the declaration of the final results. In the case of what you've mentioned, Prof, the court said, as commissioners, we are supposed to work as a team. We have to have structured kind of engagement. Our decision making must be such that we make decisions based on the law. And where we have disagreements, we should be able actually to record, to air those disagreements, say, I disagree with this, but it has to be recorded. For example, in the case of that presidential results, the law and in the rulings of the Supreme Court, the results at the polling stations are final. The results recorded in Form 34A. So the role of the chair is to return and declare as they are. No alteration, no anything. But then our role as a commission, collectively, the 7 of us, should be to verify and to ensure that they correct what is in the portal, what is what we have been the returns that have come from the polling stations out of the, I think, 46,229 polling stations, that these forms actually are authentic, the security features, the recording of all these things, so that then we do it as a collegiate, as a collective. And where any member of my team disagrees, we should be able to record it in our minutes and in our reports, so that I made a decision. For example, if as a chairman I disagree with certain things, I can be able to say this number of forms, I don't think they are authentic. And then it has to be recorded. So that then we don't witness a situation where I take off and I leave somebody else to do this. Yet we were recruited together and we were banded together to undertake a national duty, which is very sensitive. So, I mean, I would not, So for me, it's about that internal dialogue. It's about structuring our decision making. And it's about, of course, assigning ourselves duties. And the case of Secretariat, for example, you've mentioned, I've worked with the commission before, the National Commission on Human Rights, with Maina Kay as chairman. And in that commission, we never witnessed any fighting between us and our commissioners or, such things, because the way things were structured. So based on those lessons, I should be able to have the Secretariat do the jobs that they are mandated to do. And we as a commissioners, we take responsibility for what the law mandates us to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm happy at the way you have maintained your calm. There's something I was testing. My second one, again, let me give you a practical example. In Kenya and many African countries, incumbents never lose elections. You've already had the country, and we have to address these things because we need to always save our country. We've already had a one-term president. What has been the response from his side? We are the county that knows how to produce presidents for 24 years. So you can already see where the country is getting to politically. My question to you is that effective leadership at IEBC is not merely about technical competence. Effective leadership at IEBC needs selfless service based solely on public interest. The question, triple E, because you are Erastus, Ethekon. In your previous positions, in your professional life, is there an instance that you are faced with a situation in which you had to choose between a decision that it's either based on popularity, that is hard to make due to undue pressure, or that you had, despite all the circumstances surrounding you, stand by the Constitution and the law. If it exists, which one was it? And which approach did you use to arrive at the outcome?
Thank you, Professor, for that question. I think throughout my professional career, I have tried as much as possible to, I would rather frame it this way. I've been largely lucky not to have been put in those uncomfortable situations where you choose between breaking the law or upholding your own selfish personal interest. Because I worked with the Commission, again the standards there, the ethical integrity standards were very, very high. United Nations is a highly regulated entity where you are required to declare any other personal interests, and the systems and structures are so mature so that you don't have to be the systems of accountability and decision making. But when I ventured to back home to give back to my people in Turkana, when I saw an opportunity, but also the challenges they were going through in terms of grappling with legal issues, I went to serve as the first county attorney for Turkana, and I supported them to set up the office of the county attorney, where I served for 6 years. It is in that environment of public service that sometimes you are faced with some of these uncomfortable situations and scenarios where you have to choose either fidelity to the law, or you bend the law, or you break the law for the benefit of certain things. And I must tell you, throughout my 6 years, without getting into specifics, there are some incidences where a procurement takes place, and then when it comes to my attention for the legal opinion or legal advice, and then you get this pressure coming from some of those officials saying, we want this to go this way, we want this to go that way. For me, as the county attorney that time, and even now in future when I assume a public office, I have always maintained that fidelity to the law. There are those instances where I have had to say as it is. And the way I managed to circumvent that, or to beat that kind of group, was to do my advisory in writing and to say this is against the law, take it or leave it. And in that case, then people started getting used to it. So that therefore then by the time they come, they bring an issue to my attention, they know I will stick with the law. But then the downside of it, sometimes some of these guys go underground, so they do their own things there, and they don't bring to your attention. So that by the time the CPA Tanwis group comes, the auditor, they check their books. That's when some things come out of the closet. Then you realize, but what happened? This should have been brought to my attention. And this situation could not have arisen had you brought it to my attention and followed my legal advice. So for me, the respect for the rule of law, the respect for the Constitution, the processes, the Public Finance Management Act, the procurement law, the public officer ethics, those are not things you can compromise with. So when it comes to that, it actually helps you. It's not even a dilemma, Professor. Because when the law is very clear, what dilemma do you have? You just follow the law and you'll be on the right side. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Do you have some two short questions, kindly?
Yes, when Ethekon, you were quite elaborate when my colleague Caroline Kituku asked you about the diaspora vote. Could you name 3 countries in Africa and any 2 outside of Africa where diaspora voting took place in their last general elections?
Thank you, Prof. For this progressive realization of the Article 38 rights, I think, as I mentioned earlier, the Commission has done some work, and we have 12 countries. And within Africa, South Africa, where I've just returned from, I think I got that information from where the Consular General there was voting, diaspora voting in South Africa. Tanzania, our neighbor here. I think Rwanda. Surprisingly, if I may add, I hope you are not limiting me to the 3. Even our Southern Sudan, with all the challenges they are going through in terms of the conflict situation. Outside our continent, we have Canada, United States, and we have not left the European continent behind either. Germany is one of those countries where our diaspora brothers and sisters participated in the vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You did say that you come from the north, you come from a marginalized community. Can you tell us one of the solutions that the 2010 Constitution came up with, and whether, at least economically, and how it has been implemented so far?
Thank you, Prof. Just to give you a bit of a background, when we were growing up, and I was little, my uncle resided in Eldoret. My mother used to come, being a single mother, she used to come to see my uncle, her brother. And when we traveled from Turkana, in those days we were using the lorries. Sometimes you are hitchhiking on these transit goods going to southern Sudan, and it will bring you to Kitale. Then from there, that's when you see matatus, you know, and you see buses, you see nice shops and stuff like that. So it used to be a popular stereotype, or maybe I can just say it's jokes. Whenever Turkanas arrive in Kitale, the Matatu people at the stage, they'll be joking with them, calling them, Lokone, you know, Turkana, you're coming, where are you going? Hello, Alosi. They will say, the Turkanas will be like, Alosi, Kenya. Like, we are going to Kenya. So we have come from Turkana, we are going to Kenya. So later on, when I became a bit mature and understood the geography of Kenya, I realized actually Turkana is in Kenya geographically. But even then, having confirmed that we are there geographically, but when you look at the conditions in Turkana, the poverty, schools, I mean, from class 1 to 4, I was learning under acacia tree. This is not a joke. And the beauty part of it is when the wind blows and the weather changes, then you have an opportunity to run home, because, you know, when you're young, you don't like school that much. But see, we grew up under those difficult circumstances. And so the Catholic Church was actually our kind of de facto government, because it's the one that was providing us with basic services, education, health, relief food. So, but something significant happened in 2010, and the new constitution ushered in devolution, decentralization of government. And with decentralization of government, power, resources, I think for us, sometimes we tend to joke among ourselves and say, you know, this is Turkana's independence hour. This is our independence time. This is the time now we're beginning to see what freedom is. Freedom from, you know, the basic needs. Freedom from hunger. The right to expanding access to basic education. So with devolution and the first phase, we've had tremendous progress in Turkana. Even if you don't talk about tangible projects, for example, just the sheer number of Turkanas who are employed alone and accessing a salary and are able to support their extended families, so that even during drought, they are able to cushion them. That alone is very significant. But with the county government, where I served for 6 years, both under the first governor and the second governor, we've put in place structures, the county integrated development plan.
Thanks for all that. Because of time.
Yes.
Constitutionally, what's the prescription that the Constitution put in place for marginalized community, not just Turkana, all marginalized communities in Kenya, and how has it been implemented so far?
Of course, in terms of, I was just giving a specific example for how devolution, of course, that decentralization of the government and resources has made improvements in those marginalized areas. And for me, I think that's the most actually significant. But there are also certain rights in the Bill of Rights that recognize the rights of these minorities and marginalized groups. And that's why, for example, then, the rights to political participation. We also have affirmative action. For example, the revenue sharing formula takes into account that aspect of marginalization in the allocation of resources. So the revenue sharing formula, but there's also the affirmative action fund, which is meant to bring those marginalized areas to some level.
What's the name of that affirmative action fund? It's okay.
I cannot remember the exact wording. I know there's the affirmative action fund. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ethekon. We have enjoyed this time with you. We appreciate the robust engagement and we've even overshot our time. And thank you for allowing us that privilege. We asked for memoranda to be given to us about you. We didn't get any from Turkana, and we haven't gotten any from any other part of the country. And so we will let you go.
Thank you.
And maybe invite you when we receive something like that. Do you have any question for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think not really a question, but to sincerely thank the panel for giving me an opportunity to have this kind of interactive dialogue with you, but more importantly, to give me a chance, to stand a chance to serve this country and to make it a better place for us and the future generations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Every dream is valid, and we wish you very well. Please remember to pick your documents, and there's a bottle of water there. You didn't use it. You might find it helpful after this. Blessings to you, and wish you success. Thank you.